I locked her in the bathroom and walked away. No screaming. No pounding on the door. Just the muffled sound of her breathing behind the painted wood, and my own heartbeat roaring in my ears. I didn't plan it. It just happened. In that moment, I'd had enough of her vacant eyes, her unreadable calm, the way she refused to give me any real explanation. So I stepped out into the hallway and shut the door behind me, locking it with an old key I forgot we even had. A moment later, my hand was on the doorknob, twisting to make sure she couldn't open it from the inside. Then I turned around and walked away, unsure if I would come back. Unsure if I even cared. I could still hear her faint voice calling my name, but it sounded distant, like a memory I was ready to bury. The bedroom door was open, the bed was unmade. Sheets crumpled. My side of the mattress empty and cold. Her side, still warm with some kind of leftover heat that wasn't mine. The pillow carried the faintest trace of cologne, a brand I knew she never bought for me. I closed my eyes. This was the bed we'd chosen together years ago, upgraded from a queen to a king the first time we had some real money to spare. A subtle symbol of success, or so I thought. Now it felt like enemy territory, right here in my own house. Something inside me wanted to strip the sheets, burn them in the backyard, reduce them to ashes. But I just stood there, numb. That numbness frightened me more than if I were screaming or raging. Because numb meant a total shutdown of emotion. I realized the old me, the me who used to care, who used to fight for what was his, was locked in some mental cage while the new me paced around, not sure how to handle the emptiness. I glanced at the bathroom door at the end of the hall. Nothing but silence. A minute ago, she'd been cursing and demanding I let her out. Now, quiet. Maybe she was sobbing. Maybe she was fuming. Maybe she was texting him. Strange how I didn't even feel the flicker of jealousy, just a dull acceptance of how far apart we drifted. But I wasn't always like this. I used to be the guy who believed in love as something you nurtured and protected. She was the one who gave me reason to think that loyalty meant everything. Her name is Emma. We've been married for what feels like a lifetime, though the official number is a little over 20 years. She and I built this house of illusions together. We said, "I do," then strolled hand in hand down that aisle with every intention of staying that way until one of us died. I guess death came in a different form. Because you can kill a relationship without knives or bullets. All it takes is the slow erosion of honesty. She once told me, I guess I settled for less, over dinner, like it was nothing. I had been chewing my food, half distracted by the late-night emails from my boss, and her words seeped into my head so quietly that it took a minute for me to register them. Then she moved on, sipping wine, half-lidded eyes, as though she'd just stated a fact about the weather. It was only later that I understood the full weight of what she'd said. But I let it pass. I didn't even argue. Maybe that was the night I let my guard down for good. Funny how you can go from being deeply in love to barely recognizing the person in front of you. We used to finish each other's sentences. Now we can't even start a genuine conversation. She'd come home from work, toss her jacket over the arm of the couch, and tell me about her day in bullet points, short, neat, perfunctory. Then we'd eat a silent dinner, watch separate shows on Netflix, and head to bed. I'd roll away from her. She'd sigh but never press closer. Eventually, that wedge between us grew too big to ignore. The memory of how I first discovered her affair is so sharp it feels almost cinematic. I'd woken up in the dead of night, the digital clock on my nightstand said 2 a.m. My phone chimed with a security alert, the new high-tech lock on the front door beeped. I figured it was some glitch or a neighbor's cat triggering the motion sensor. But then I heard footsteps. I got out of bed and crept toward the living room. The cameras automatically record everything, so I checked the feed on my phone. There he was, a man in a black jacket, letting himself in. 5 minutes later, her laughter, hushed but audible, just a few rooms away. My body felt disconnected from my mind as I watched the timeline. I remember thinking, this is a joke, right? Some glitch in the system. That's not real. That's not my wife. But it was, and I couldn't deny it. I watched the replay of him pressing her against the wall, of her wrapping her arms around his neck. The camera angle cut off most details, but the silhouette was enough to send me reeling. I didn't confront her right away that night. Instead, I waited. For a week, I kept that knowledge locked in my chest, uncertain how to process it. And then came the dinner where she casually dropped the line about settling for less. Something in my gut tore. But I said nothing. Maybe I was afraid of what I might do or say if I unleashed the words inside me. Maybe I was hoping she'd come clean on her own. But she didn't. She yawned, she rinsed her plate, and she walked off to watch some mindless show about home renovations, maybe even dreaming about a renovation of her own life, far from me. I retreated into silence. Stopped touching her, stopped trying to meet her eyes. She noticed, but all she said was, "You're acting distant," with a tone that suggested I was the one who had changed. And I guess I had. I was changed by the knowledge that we were no longer a team, that she'd let someone else into our house, into our bed when I wasn't looking. Nothing kills love faster than a quiet betrayal. She might have thought I was a fool who'd never discover it. Or maybe she hoped I'd remain too apathetic to do anything. A year crawled by with that tension. Then everything escalated. I found myself, just a few days ago, packing her things into boxes, writing little notes on the cardboard with a black marker, summer lies, fake anniversaries, his cologne. It's not like we had a formal conversation about it. She just saw me rummaging in the closet, pulling out her dresses, those fancy shoes she rarely wore, old love letters from me that she had thrown in a drawer. She asked me what I was doing, but I ignored her, scrawling words on the boxes in a feverish rage. When I was done, I set up a camera in the backyard. I poured myself a generous amount of whiskey, more than I'd had in months, and flicked the lighter. A spark. Fire engulfed the contents of those boxes, dancing and crackling in the night air. I didn't feel triumphant, just hollow. The only sense of satisfaction was seeing the illusions go up in smoke. I filmed the entire thing, splicing in footage of our wedding waltz, slowed down to half speed. Then I uploaded it to my private YouTube channel. Strangely, it didn't get flagged or removed. Maybe their algorithm saw it as just another dramatic vlog. Or maybe nobody cares about an old man's heartbreak. That's what led us here, to tonight. She was crying by the back door when I finally stepped inside from the yard. Her tears were real, but they didn't move me the way they once might have. She said, "You're acting insane," and something in me snapped. The idea of me being insane after what she'd done was so galling I couldn't hold it in. I stared right through her and said, "You think I'm insane? You haven't seen anything yet." Then I grabbed her arm, not enough to hurt her, but enough to show her I was done playing nice, and practically dragged her to the bathroom. She demanded, "Let me go," voice shaking between anger and fear. I guided her inside, closed the door, and turned the key. I heard the lock click. And that's when I took my first breath of real calm. I could have locked her anywhere, but the bathroom is small, cramped, and has no windows. No escape route. All she had was the darkness of her own reflection in the mirror. Now I stand in the hallway, staring at the half-lit bedroom. My phone is on the nightstand, right next to the star map I once bought for myself, my bizarre attempt at a gift in a time when I needed to reclaim something personal. "The night I understood everything," reads the inscription under the constellations. The date corresponds to the moment I caught her. It feels bitter, but also strangely liberating. I glance down at my hand. I'm still wearing my wedding ring. When did I put it back on? Did I ever take it off completely, or did I just imagine that? She's in the bathroom, silent now. The door is locked, but she's not hammering on it. Suddenly, I feel compelled to talk to her. To hear her voice. I retrace my steps and press my palm against the wood. My voice comes out surprisingly steady. Emma? Her reply is muted. What? She sounds tired. Defeated. Maybe her adrenaline is draining. I take a moment, swallow hard. We need to talk. Face to face. A sharp exhale. Then let me out. I twist the key, open the door. She steps out, eyes red and puffy. Her hair is a mess, her mascara is smudged. She has that mixture of resentment and fear, like she's not sure if I'm going to lash out or beg her to stay. I watch her expression shift from caution to a flicker of relief when she sees I'm not charging at her. I say, sit down. I point toward the edge of the bed. She hesitates but does as I ask. I remain standing. I can see my reflection in the mirror above the dresser. My face looks foreign to me, older, lines etched deeper than I remember. My voice comes out low, almost a growl. How long? She opens her mouth, then closes it again. She looks at her hands. We haven't slept together in months, she says quietly, avoiding my actual question. You barely touch me. You barely look at me. What did you expect? I let that statement hang in the air. My heart is pounding, but my exterior remains calm. You want me to say that's a reason? That because I was distant, you get to bring another man into my house? She lifts her head, and I catch the flash of anger in her eyes. Don't pretend you've been a saint. You're never really here, Robert. You bury yourself in code, in your devices, in your old regrets. You left me alone in this marriage long before Michael showed up. The name hits me like a punch. Michael. I'd known it, but hearing it from her mouth is different. I picture him, the man with the black jacket, the cunning grin, the design consultant with big ideas. I push the image away, focus on her. So you decided to fix our distance by letting him into our bed? She flinches at the word, bed. Maybe it conjures the same memory for her that it does for me, the day we bought this mattress, laughing about how we'd need more blankets for the bigger size. We were so eager to share that space back then. Her eyes flick to mine. It just happened. I bark out a short laugh, bitter, hollow. That's not an explanation. That's an excuse. She grips the bed sheets, tangling her fingers in the fabric. I was lonely. He noticed me. And for a while, it felt like I could breathe again. Something about me was alive. I can't explain it better than that. I'm silent, letting the tension coil inside my chest. Something in me wants to lash out, wants to break something. But instead, I recall the instructions I gave myself earlier, make her talk, then dismantle her illusions. So I force calm into my voice. Tell me how it started. I want details. She looks up, tears brimming again. Why? It'll only hurt you more. My jaw tightens. That's exactly why. There's a flicker of defiance in her expression. She might have been able to hold it back before, but now she sees the look in my eyes. I see her deciding it's pointless to lie. It started when we worked on a small remodeling project together. I was overseeing some marketing materials for one of his clients, and we got lunch. Then dinner. At first, it was innocent. Just talking, laughing. And then, he kissed me. I didn't stop him. I felt wanted. After so much time feeling invisible, I let that desire guide me. I picture them in some corner booth, leaning over drinks, her giggling at his jokes. My stomach churns. She continues, her voice flat. I kept telling myself it was harmless. That it didn't really mean anything. But it got physical. And once it crossed that line, I couldn't pretend it wasn't an affair. I tried to end it, but, she shrugs helplessly. The draw was there. He made me feel alive. I want to scream, but I swallow that urge. And what about me? I ask, voice shaking. Did you ever consider talking to me? Telling me you felt lonely? That you wanted more attention, more passion? Her shoulders slump. I did consider it. But every time I tried, you were lost in your own head. You'd say, we'll talk later, or I'm busy. And eventually, I gave up. Resentment turned to bitterness, and that bitterness got so heavy I couldn't bring myself to fix things with you. Michael was easier, he offered me a shortcut to feeling good. My eyes lock onto hers. I let the silence drag out, letting her words sink in, letting the cold burn of betrayal intensify in my gut. Finally, I take a deep breath. You're not sorry, are you? She blinks. I am, sorry for hurting you. Sorry for how I went about it. Not sorry you did it, though, I say quietly. She looks away. I don't know. Sometimes I still feel I made the right choice. Sometimes I hate myself for it. I nod, feeling a rush of clarity. You want to leave? Is that what you want? Because if so, pack your bags and get the hell out. She stands abruptly. I don't know what I want. I'm stuck in a house that hasn't felt like home in years, stuck in a marriage where we can't even have a conversation without you shutting down or me picking a fight. And I'm with a man on the side who doesn't respect boundaries. But he sees me, at least that's how it feels. Congratulations, I say, forcing the word through clenched teeth. You found someone who sees you. I hope the view is worth the destruction. She steps toward me, almost like she wants to touch me. But her hand hangs in the air, then falls back. Robert. You locked me in the bathroom. I let out a slow breath. Yes. I did. Because I couldn't handle how easily you dismiss everything we built. She's about to speak, but I cut her off with a gesture. Enough. I've heard your half-baked reasoning. Now it's my turn. You and I, we're done. Her cheeks are wet with tears again, but I'm beyond comforting her. I feel only the steady pulse of my anger and heartbreak. She asks, so where does that leave us? I stare at her, trying to recall the face of the woman I once loved with every ounce of my being. The same woman who, just a year ago, saw me buy that star map for myself, a map charting the exact constellation overhead the night I discovered her affair. That was a piece of twisted catharsis, an odd gift to remind myself of the moment illusions shattered. Part of me wanted to wave it in her face, to watch her realize I knew. But I never said a word about it. I just hung it in my office like a silent emblem of my awakening. Where does that leave us? I echo her question internally. It leaves us on the edge of oblivion. I turn away, heading for the living room. She follows, but I don't invite her. I pick up the empty whiskey bottle from the coffee table and swirl it, only a few drops left. I gulp them down, ignoring the burn in my throat. She stands by the couch, arms folded, shoulders trembling. Robert, I'm sorry, she repeats, voice quavering. I don't know what else to say. I slam the bottle down on the table. You've said enough. Now, if you really don't know what you want, I can help you figure it out. You want me to be the villain here? Fine. I'll be that. I'll file for divorce, put this house on the market, and you can run off with your charismatic genius. That's the direction we're heading anyway, right? She starts to shake her head. Don't do that. Don't push me away out of spite. I bark out another laugh. Spite? It's all I have left. And I realize how true that is. In the vacuum of love, anger is sometimes the only thing that remains, fueling your every word. I cross to the fireplace, where I stacked a few of her picture frames earlier. They're all photos of us in happier days, vacations, birthdays, that sort of thing. I pick one up. Her arms around me, both of us smiling at the Grand Canyon's edge. I smash it on the stone mantel, glass splintering. She gasps, but I don't stop. I pick up another frame and toss it onto the rug. The frame cracks, the photo slides out. Us, dancing at our wedding. The same waltz I used for the background of that video. She moves forward, grabbing my arm. Stop. I whirl on her. I'm done pretending. You see me now. This is the cost of your affair. This is the debris you left behind. Her lips tremble, and tears stream down her face. I never wanted us to come to this. I yank my arm free. Then you shouldn't have let him in. Or at least you should have told me you were unhappy before you hopped into bed with Michael. She flinches at his name. It wasn't just about that. I felt invisible with you. I almost lose it, my voice goes ragged. I was always here, Emma. I was right here, working, trying to build a future for us. If you needed me, all you had to do was say so. Don't pin it all on me, she snaps suddenly, tears mixing with anger. You avoided conflict. You didn't want to address our problems. You just retreated behind your screens, your spreadsheets, your code. And that justifies you sneaking around? Justifies letting him in at 2 a.m. so you could laugh in my living room? She drops her head. No. Nothing justifies that. I breathe in, letting the rage swirl. Then I speak quietly, we're past apologies. Now it's about consequences. She looks up. What do you mean? I don't answer. Because right then, something else rises in me, a sense of finality. A calm after the storm. My phone chimes on the coffee table. I glance at the screen. It's an unknown number, but I suspect who it might be. My mind conjures an image of Michael, bold enough to text or call me. I let the phone ring out. Then I pick it up and toss it onto the couch. She watches, uncertain. I say, I'm finishing this. That means dividing everything, house, finances, and you. If you think you can salvage what's left of your feelings for me, then you fight for it. Otherwise, walk away. She collapses onto the couch, burying her face in her hands. Fight for it? How? Do you really think we can fix this? Fix? I shake my head. No. You can't unburn a house once it's ash. Maybe you can build a new one on the wreckage. But I'm not sure I want that. She stays silent, face hidden. I stand there, taking in the messy living room, the shards of glass glinting on the mantel, the stench of whiskey, the hollowness inside my chest. The moment stretches like an eternity. Then I speak in a low voice, I need space. I need to think. Right now, if I stay here with you, I'll either shatter more picture frames or do something worse. And I don't want that. She mumbles something I can't quite hear. Then she raises her head. Where will you go? I'll figure it out, I say, though I'm not entirely sure. Maybe I'll stay at a motel. Maybe I'll sleep in my car. Anywhere but here, in this suffocating space that once was home. I grab a jacket from the coat rack. My wallet, keys. I pause, turning toward her. Pack some of your things. You can stay here or get a hotel. I don't care. But by tomorrow, I want an answer. Are we dividing everything up or, I trail off, not finishing the alternative? The truth is, I'm not sure there is an alternative. She doesn't respond. I see the tears glisten on her cheeks as I close the door behind me. Outside, the night air feels cold. My mind replays the images, her locked in the bathroom, the boxes burning, the laughter on the security feed. I stride to my car, slump behind the wheel, and realize my hands are shaking. The quiet is unnerving, just the faint hum of the city lights and distant traffic. I rest my forehead on the steering wheel, trying to steady my breathing. This is the turning point, I think. Once I drive away, there's no going back to the old illusions. I start the engine. The seat belt dings. I ignore the beep for a moment, then buckle it out of habit. My phone is still in the house, so I have no GPS to guide me anywhere. I turn out of the driveway and onto the empty street, left with only my thoughts. Street lamps cast harsh shadows across the hood. I drive aimlessly, hoping the motion might soothe the chaos in my head. Images flash, me and Emma on our wedding day, swirling to that waltz, me at my father's funeral, realizing how fleeting life can be, me discovering her affair, watching that black and white footage on my phone. And now I'm here, alone on a dark street, feeling older than my 58 years. My father once told me, "Son, you either love wholeheartedly or you don't love at all." I loved Emma wholeheartedly, but apparently she had a different capacity for love. I stop at a 24-hour convenience store. I don't even know what I'm doing there. Maybe I just needed light and people around me. I go inside, the fluorescent bulbs buzzing overhead. I wander the aisles, pick up a bottle of water, then put it back. Eventually, I settle on a bottle of cheap whiskey. Another one, as if the first meltdown wasn't enough. The cashier rings me up without comment. I pay in cash. My reflection in the bulletproof glass looks haunted. I push through the door and step back into the night. A few blocks down, I find a rundown motel. Neon sign flickering. I pull in, check in at the front desk. An older man with a bored expression hands me a key. No ID needed apparently, just the cash. Room 19. I park in front of the room, unload nothing but the whiskey. Inside, the place smells of stale cigarettes. There's a single lamp, an old TV, and a bed with questionable sheets. Still better than sleeping in the car. I flop onto the bed, ignoring the suspicious stains on the comforter, and stare at the ceiling. My wedding ring digs into my finger. I slip it off, holding it between my thumb and forefinger. The brass color glints under the weak lamp. I think about dropping it in the sink or flushing it down the toilet, but I can't bring myself to. Instead, I slide it onto the chain of my car keys, letting it hang there, as if my marriage is now just another trinket. I open the whiskey, take a burning swig, and cough. Then I drift, my thoughts swirling, body heavy with exhaustion. Vague images of Emma's face flutter behind my eyelids, but no tears come. Maybe I'm past tears now. Numb. That must be how heartbreak evolves. Sometime in the early morning, I jolt awake to the sound of a car horn outside. I'm disoriented, my neck stiff from sleeping in an awkward position. The whiskey bottle is half empty on the bedside table. My mouth tastes like ashes. I drag myself to the bathroom, splash cold water on my face, stare at my reflection. Dark circles under my eyes. Unshaven stubble. Lines etched deeper. I wonder if Emma is still in the house, or if she left. Did she choose him over me? I dry my face with a scratchy motel towel, rummage for my phone, then remember it's back at the house. That phone. That footage. My entire life is in that device, ironically. For a moment, I consider letting it all go, just driving off to some distant place. But I know I won't. I have responsibilities, a job that pays well, a life built on decades of effort. I can't just vanish. After a long moment, I slip on my jacket, toss the whiskey in the trash, and head out. The sun is rising, turning the sky a muted orange. I drive back to the house. The entire ride, my stomach churns with uncertainty. Have I forced the final confrontation? Or is Emma waiting with some new revelation? When I pull into the driveway, her car is still there. A swirl of conflicting emotions grips me. Relief that she didn't leave. Anger that she didn't. I kill the engine and step out. My hands are steady now, though my heart's pounding. Inside, the house is quiet. No sign of her in the living room. The shattered frames remain scattered. On the coffee table, my phone sits in plain view, cracked screen. She must have hurled it or dropped it. I pick it up gingerly, pressing the power button. The screen flickers, then lights up with notifications. Missed calls, texts from unknown numbers, from her number, even from my mother who's probably worried. I sigh. No doubt there are texts from him too. I decide not to look. I see Emma's reflection in the blank TV screen. She's standing behind me, near the couch. She speaks first, voice low. I tried calling you last night. My muscles tense. I left my phone. She steps forward cautiously. Where did you go? Motel. Her lips part like she might say something else, but she doesn't. Instead, she moves around the couch. I notice she's wearing the same clothes, crumpled and wrinkled, like she didn't sleep either. Finally, she says, I couldn't leave. I nod slowly, not sure how to respond. I set my phone down on the table, careful not to slice my thumb on the cracks. I face her fully. So. Did you decide? She exhales shakily. I can't lie to you anymore. I didn't sleep at all, I just kept thinking, this can't be how our story ends. My chest feels tight. What are you saying? That I made a mistake. A terrible one. And I'm sorry. But you're right, there have to be consequences. If you want me out, I'll go. But I had to see if there's any piece of you that still wants me here. Any piece that's willing to try therapy, or something. I watch her eyes. I know Emma well enough to see she's being genuine in this moment. But is it enough? My mind replays the scene of her and Michael in my living room, and it stabs my soul. The memory of his touch on her skin. The possibility of them in my bed. I can't banish it. But there's a part of me that hates how easily I can't walk away from decades together. Even after she carved out my heart. Therapy won't erase what happened, I say, calmer than I feel. I know, she replies. But maybe it can help us figure out if there's anything left. I run a hand through my hair, struggling to find words. I'm not sure if I can ever trust you again. She nods, tears gathering. I understand. I stare at the broken picture frames, the scattered photos. You're going to have to prove you mean it. Words aren't enough. I know. We stand in silence for a moment. Then a surge of anger flares. He's going to keep calling you, texting you. He's not just going to vanish. She bites her lip. I'll block him. I'll cut him out. I promise. A bitter laugh escapes me. Promises. Right. Her chin trembles. I can't take back what I did, but I can promise I won't ever see him again. If you want me to sign something. I don't know. I'll do anything. I cross my arms over my chest, feeling the sting of tears in my own eyes, tears I refuse to shed. And what if that's not enough? What if every time I look at you, I see you with him? Her voice breaks. Then I guess you'll never forgive me. But I'm asking you to try. I'm begging. For a long minute, I don't speak. The silence between us is thick with unspoken pain. Finally, I blow out a breath. I'm not making any promises either. I don't know if I can ever get past this. But maybe I want to see if you'll actually do the work. She nods. Anything, she repeats. Then move out for a while, I say abruptly. Find an apartment, something close enough for therapy sessions, but not here. I need space to see if I can exist in this house without wanting to tear it apart. She blinks. You want me out? Yes. For now. This isn't me punishing you, it's me giving myself a chance to breathe. If we do therapy, we do it on neutral ground. And I don't want you near me until I can look at your face without seeing him. She closes her eyes. Then she nods. Okay. If that's what it takes. I exhale, feeling a fraction of tension lift. If you're serious about trying to fix this, you'll do it. If not, then it's done. She wipes her cheeks. I'll do it. Just, give me a day or two. I step away. Take all the time you need. I'll be at work. We'll figure out therapy, or not, but you're not sleeping here. I glance at the hallway. You can pack your things now. I don't care what you take. She glances in that direction too, as if reminded of how I'd stuffed her belongings into boxes and then lit them on fire. There's not much left to pack, she whispers. I shrug, not responding. Then I head to the bedroom, rummage for my work laptop, ignoring the bed that used to be ours. I can feel her presence behind me, but I don't turn around. Finally, I gather what I need, then walk back out. She's standing by the kitchen counter, staring at nothing. I pause at the door, look at her one last time. Her face is so haunted and lost. For a moment, I almost feel pity. Then I remember the man in the black jacket. The memory steals my resolve. I leave without another word, stepping into the bright morning. All I can think is, maybe time doesn't heal. Maybe time just erases, little by little, until there's nothing left to remember, or nothing left you can stand to remember. And maybe that's okay. Maybe forgetting is the only way to move forward. That day drags on in a blur of tasks and numbness at the office. My coworkers give me polite nods, sense my tension but don't pry. I bury myself in coding, poring over lines of logic that seem far simpler than the wreckage of my marriage. Around lunch, I get a text from Emma, I'm moving out tomorrow. I'll message you when it's done. I stare at the words for a while, then set the phone aside, uncertain why my eyes burn with a swirl of sorrow and relief. After work, I drive back to the empty house. She's gone, for now. The living room is tidier, the broken frames stacked to one side, as if she tried to leave things less chaotic. I notice a note on the dining table, I meant what I said. I'm sorry. E. Underneath the note is her wedding ring. She removed it before leaving. I hold it up, watch how it catches the overhead light. We were just two people who swore forever. Now we're two strangers deciding whether it's worth even trying to find a path back. I sit in the quiet for a long time, the ring in my palm. Eventually, I slip it into a drawer, not sure if I'll ever give it back. The next few days pass in a fog. She calls me once to say she's found a small apartment. She gave me the address. I tell her I'll text about therapy sessions, though I still don't know if my heart's in it. My mother calls, sensing something's wrong. I lie, telling her we're just busy with work. I don't have the energy to explain. Not yet. Days turn into weeks. A part of me wants to proceed with the divorce, to end this chapter. Another part can't let go of what we shared. I keep replaying the night I set those boxes on fire, how final it felt. But final isn't always the same as closure. My star map still hangs in my office, a silent reminder of the date I discovered everything. Each time I see it, a dull ache stirs in my gut. One evening, I step into a therapy office for the first time. Emma is there, sitting with her hands folded. She looks at me with uncertainty. We're directed into a room with an older counselor who has a calm, measured presence. For an hour, she asks us to talk about our feelings, our resentments. I listen to Emma's halting words, I felt neglected. I felt worthless. I needed validation, each phrase cuts, but also clarifies. Then it's my turn to speak of betrayal, of heartbreak, of anger. Tears prick my eyes once or twice. She sees them, but I blink them away. We leave the session feeling raw. I'm not sure if we made any progress or just reopened the wound. Therapy becomes a weekly ritual. Sometimes we yell, sometimes we barely talk. She insists she cut off contact with Michael. She shows me the messages where she told him never to text again. I read them, scanning for any hidden code. There's none. I can't say I trust her fully yet. But at least we're talking. One night, A few months later, we walk out of a therapy session and find ourselves in the parking lot. She hesitates, then says, "Would you have dinner with me?" I pause. "Dinner?" She offers a tight smile. "Neutral place. Just to talk more." The counselor suggested we try spending some time in a public setting. I stare at her. "All right." We go to a modest Italian restaurant nearby. Over plates of pasta, we do something we haven't done in ages, we open up. She's shaking slightly, tears threatening. She talks about her father leaving when she was young, how it shaped her fear of abandonment. I talk about the day I lost my dad, how I became consumed with providing a stable life for her and me, maybe forgetting the emotional side. The conversation is quiet, broken by awkward silences, but it feels oddly honest. When the bill arrives, I pay without comment. She tries to object, but I wave her off. "One dinner isn't going to fix us," I say. "But it's a start." She nods. On the drive home, we part ways at her apartment. I watch her climb the stairs. The memory of locking her in the bathroom resurfaces, but now it feels like another lifetime. I drive home alone. Time crawls. We keep going to sessions. On some days, I'm certain it's hopeless. On others, I glimpse a spark of what we had. She confesses how she hates herself for the affair, that she can't believe she was unfaithful. I confess how close I came to hating her. The counselor encourages us to keep talking, keep trying to see if our marriage has any salvageable core. Eventually, we reach a crossroads. She stands at my doorstep one evening, small suitcase in hand. "I can move back anytime," she says, voice wavering. "But I won't do it unless you say so." I look at her, weigh everything that's happened. The star map on the wall is still a reminder of betrayal. But I also recall the ring she left on the table, her vow to never see him again, the months of therapy. Her eyes are tired but resolute. She's done the homework, changed her routines, blocked him on every platform. There's a flicker of sincerity there I can't deny. Maybe I'm a fool for even considering letting her back. And yet, I step aside. She moves in, uncertain. I can't even greet her with a kiss. We stand in the foyer like strangers. She sets her suitcase down, looks around at the house that is now half empty, so many memories gone up in the smoke of that backyard fire. She says nothing. I say nothing. We just breathe the same air, waiting to see if this is truly a new beginning or just an epilogue to a story that should have ended. In the weeks that follow, we start to share small routines again. Coffee in the morning, short discussions about the day. We don't sleep in the same bed at first. I keep an extra blanket in my office, and she uses the bedroom. The therapy sessions continue. I find myself gradually less triggered by the memory of Michael. There are times I catch myself watching her phone if it buzzes, but she shows me the screen voluntarily, a quiet demonstration that there's no secret. Each time, a small piece of the trust we lost tries to regrow. One night, after a particularly painful session, we come home drained. She steps into the bedroom. I linger in the hallway. She glances over her shoulder and says, "You can sleep in here, if you want." Her voice is shaky, uncertain. It's an invitation, not a demand. I stand there, hearing my own pulse. A wave of memories hit me, the feel of her body, the times we laughed, the nights we drifted apart. And the image of her with him. I close my eyes, inhaling slowly. Then I open them and nod. All right. We share that bed for the first time in over a year. We don't touch at first. She's lying on her side, me on mine. The space between us is an abyss. Minutes pass. Eventually, she inches closer, her hand resting on my arm. I tense but don't pull away. We stay like that, the faint press of her fingers, until exhaustion claims us. Morning arrives. I awaken to find her still asleep, her hand now lying near mine. A sense of cautious relief flickers in my chest, like maybe we can find a way forward. Or maybe this is temporary. I don't know. But it's the first time in a long while I haven't felt immediate anger upon seeing her. As time wears on, we peel back more layers of bitterness. Some nights, I feel the old warmth stirring, a faint echo of passion. We haven't tried to be intimate yet beyond light touches. But the emotional distance is shrinking. Therapy is grueling, but we do the work. She stops wearing the perfume that used to remind me of him. She shows me every message or call log to reassure me. Meanwhile, I try to be present, to see her, to make her feel visible the way she said she needed. Months pass. We celebrate an anniversary, quietly, with dinner at home. She tries to apologize again for the 1000th time, but I quiet her with a hand on hers. We'll never move forward if we keep digging up the old grave, I say. Let's just see if the future is worth anything. Eventually, she musters the courage to say, I still love you. Even though I messed up. I swallow a lump in my throat. I want to believe that. I'm trying. She bites her lip. I understand if you can't forgive me fully. Maybe you never will. I look at her, remembering how I once told her, I already left, inside, right after I discovered the affair. Maybe I did leave, in a way. But slowly, I'm coming back, or at least trying to find a new place for us to stand together. There's no guarantee it'll work. Some part of me might remain scarred forever. Yet another part wants to reclaim the sense of partnership we had. Are we naive for trying to mend a bond shattered by betrayal? Probably. But sometimes you cling to whatever hope is left. The final therapy session we attend, months after she moved back, our counselor says we've made remarkable progress. We both know that healing can't be measured by a clock, that the ghost of her lover still lurks in the corners of my mind. But I don't see him in her eyes anymore. I see remorse, and maybe genuine devotion. I'll never be the same man I was before all this. And she'll never be the same woman. That's the cost of infidelity, of heartbreak. Trust is battered, love is tarnished, and it takes monumental effort to salvage even a fragment of what was. Sometimes, late at night, I still picture the fire in the backyard, the boxes labeled with mocking titles. I still see the slowed-down wedding waltz footage I posted on YouTube, the final burn of our illusions. In many ways, that was a funeral for the naive version of us. We laid it to rest in digital flames. Now, whatever we have, it's something different, less innocent, more complicated. Maybe it's broken beyond repair. Maybe it's forging a new shape. One night, she curls up beside me, fingers trembling against my shoulder. Do you hate me? I stare at the ceiling, heart pounding. Some nights I do. Other nights I just hate what you did. She nods, tears threatening again. She doesn't speak, just squeezes my shoulder. After a moment, I shift to face her, gaze into her eyes. I can't read everything that's in there, regret, longing, a hope for forgiveness. I brush a tear from her cheek, saying nothing. Because words can't fix what happened. Only time that doesn't really heal but might erase the freshest scars, will decide if we can be whole again. We lie there in silence, the darkness of the bedroom a fragile cocoon. Somewhere, in the distance, I imagine the night sky with all its constellations. The star map I once bought is still in my office. Maybe I should throw it out, remove that painful reminder of betrayal. Or maybe I need it there to remind me how close I came to losing everything, and how life doesn't guarantee second chances. Some people say you have to forgive or you'll never be free. But I'm learning that forgiveness isn't a sudden event, it's a slow, daily choice. One you might wrestle with for the rest of your days. So I lie awake, listening to her soft breathing. For now, that's enough. I'm here, beside her, not locked away in a motel or driving aimlessly through the night. She's here, not in another man's arms, not sneaking out at 2 a.m. Maybe tomorrow will bring a rush of anger or sorrow or lingering doubt. But right now, the bed is warmer than it's been in a very long time. I close my eyes, letting the hush of the night settle over us, and release a slow, steady breath. We survive in fragments. We love in broken pieces. Maybe that's the best I can do now, keep breathing, no longer wrapped in her lie, but forging some new path that isn't weighed down by the ghost of his cologne. And if, in the morning light, I find I can smile without bitterness, maybe that's a start. Maybe that's enough.